Hello and welcome to the Work Hates podcast. Everyone has a nightmare work story, whether it is a shit boss, an insufferable colleague, or just a crappy workplace. And if you've had none of those things, chances are you're the problem. I'm Bron Lewis. This is Bretty Blake.
G'day, legends. Today we are joined by comedian, sports enthusiast, former housemate,
That's true.
Sam Taunton.
What is up, guys? Thank you for having me. This is in this beautiful studio you have.
Yeah, isn't it lovely?
I always thought we were in a pub, but no, this is all fake.
The name I can't pronounce.
Bodrigi.
I can never pronounce
Bodrigi or something.
because you're
It's just
dyslexic,
Bodrigi.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell people I'm borderline dyslexic because my dad is dyslexic. But can you claim to be borderline, or am I just lazy? Because you've
I
actually
reckon
got
you're just lazy.
you've got a problem.
My words move.
It's
for
got a
me. I've got
disability.
a problem. Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
disability.
It's a disability.
Could you read the auto cue under pressure on TV?
yeah,
Do you
it's a
think?
good question.
I reckon you could.
I want to know if I could. I reckon I could under pressure, but I'd have to have it spaced out in a certain way.
Yeah.
But also, like, who's going to give me that job?
Have you
anyway?
ever had to?
Nah.
You've never had
nah.
to?
I reckon it will come up at some point.
When I was on at the show the other week and I was just trying to watch it and it fucking stressed me out.
Sound it out, Bretty. Sound it out,
No,
mate.
but isn't it? I don't think sounding out doesn't work if you're dyslexic. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Because all the words are jumbled
Words-
around.
Yeah, the problem is words jump and you pull words from other sentences or other lines ahead and then P's look like B's and shit like that. It's a fucking nightmare. Yeah. So I got to like a few reading assistant things or whatever. Coloured glasses helps.
What's a
Blue
reading
ones?
assistant?
It's a lady.
You
Comes
have a lady
over.
and she
Oh,
helps.
like a teacher's aid.
Yeah. Special needs.
I would love. How good would a teacher's aid be 24/7?
It'd be
Like
the
as an
best.
adult, you just have someone there helping you out with admin, like being like, make sure you write it there. That'd be great.
Oh, you're doing a good job with
That's
your water
what I
bill.
need.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Just a bit of reinforcement.
Oh, so you had funding.
You what?
You had funding. Your dyslexia was so bad you had funding.
No.
Oh.
So who was she? Just the actual teacher's assistant.
Yeah, there were normally ones in schools that had
Yeah,
a
yeah,
teacher's
yeah.
assistant. But yeah,
right.
the only thing I got was extra time. So like for your exams, you get an hour. I'd get an hour 20.
Yeah, but that's not fun because that's not. You're just in the exam for longer.
Oh, and then and it's always at lunchtime. So I'm like, great. So
Yeah,
now
just
I'm
miss out on it
failing
all.
and missing lunch. This is sick.
Yeah.
An
You
extra
can get a
20
ruler
minutes.
and it blacks everything out, and you just drag the ruler across, so you can't see any other sentences.
That's good.
I just gave up. Who needs to fucking read anyway? You don't
Sammy
need to.
does.
I like reading.
Do ya?
Reading's fun. I like reading books.
You have to read auto cues though all the time.
Yeah, I have to read the auto cue.
Does that
at
stress
work.
you out?
No, it's actually not too bad, but it is like, it's a running joke about how I can't pronounce some words. Like there'll be
Like
a producer in my ear. Like names are really tricky.
Oh, yeah.
Like when it's like names that aren't phonetic and they're in different language, I just have no chance. I
Jimmy
always give it a
Carr.
go. Jimmy Carr.
Carr.
I'd probably
You
get
got
that. Jimmy Carr.
I
Jimmy
hate when
Reese.
Jimmy
it
Reese.
sounds bad, but when you got a fucking someone's got a name like that and you're on a comedy lineup, and I'm like, hey man, just so you know, I'm
Oh,
absolutely gonna fuck this up.
That is the problem, and you would host a lot. You would as well, Bron. That
Mm.
is like the worst. I'm always getting names wrong.
Or not even clocking what the name is.
You just have to yell.
Yeah, you yell and you go really quick.
Yeah.
You just go, "Bravos!" like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And then if they are really keen on their name being pronounced,
Yep.
then they can get up there and say it.
remember
Oh, they're
doing-
the worst. They're worse when they get up and they go, "It's actually pronounced," and then they say,
That's
"It's
a
not
psychopath
funny.
move,
it's
though.
it's awkward."
I had someone
It's
stop me
crazy.
on stage while the handshake. Welcome to the stage. He's like, it's actually pronounced this.
Who
It
did
was
this?
Some open micer in Perth, and I kept holding his hand, and I said, I don't care.
Wow, that's
I'm
beautiful.
never going to see you again,
Well,
brother.
they also have a perfect opportunity at the end of their set. You also don't have, you don't have to bring it up, but at the end you can say, thanks so much, my name's Brett Blake. Good night. You could say
Yeah.
that.
No
That's
one-
fine. You can't say it at the start of the set.
Yeah, and are you smashing it that much that me mispronouncing it's going to fuck your career? You know
They're
what I
not
mean?
listening to the name anyway. They're just listening to the rhythm of what you're saying. Is the next up, put your hands together, welcome to the stage, and then they know because they're already
Yeah.
clapping. They're not listening.
I
They're not
remember
listening.
hosting once, must have been a roadshow gig on the Gold Coast in the 1,000-seat theatre, and I was bringing on Brennan Reese, English comedian Brennan Reese, and I went to bring him on, couldn't remember his name, was looking at him, couldn't remember his name still.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like patting for time. I was like, this guy is all over the world. I've been working with him for weeks. He's a killer. I'm just going for as long as I can. He's just staring at me. And in the end, I just had to say, what is your name? And he
He's
was
my
like,
best friend in the whole world.
and we were getting along so well. We'd made plans to go and do stuff and then I was like, what's your name? And he was like, what the fuck? And then he had to address that.
I did it to Wardy, and I've known Wardy forever. Wardy's one of my good mates, but I was at Catfish, and I was like, and please welcome to the stage my best friend and yours.
Yeah, you're just hoping.
And I was like, I'm blanking, dude. What the fuck is your name?
It's Ivan Milat.
Yeah. I was like, I'm blanking up here.
But that's fun at a little gig. When it's a big theater, everything in a big theater, like you can't have fun and be like unprofessional because it just looks shit.
Yes,
People are like,
correct.
we paid money. We're in a fancy place. Yeah. We can't take our drink inside. You better get the name right. That's the least we like
got
expect.
the drunkest heckler was in a theater gig, and he just was like, yep, did that. You're like, shut the fuck up, you fucking fat idiot.
Where was that?
He was
what gig was this?
Where was it? I took a photo of him. He's got a big Lowe's shirt on. Obviously, he's wearing a Lowe's shirt. Oh, it was in Albany.
Albany. I love Albany.
Love Albany.
What a town.
Beautiful town, but this guy just relentlessly talking throughout the show.
Oh yeah, they feel like they're part of it.
Yeah, but I
feel like they're
been
helping.
addressed heaps of times,
Absolutely.
and I was like, just don't talk during the acts and all that shit. And he's like, nah. And then he tried to get on the stage afterwards to come.
He
say
was part
g'day.
of it.
Yeah, he was right to be involved because
Yeah,
it turns
he was
out
there. What did he say? He goes,
Also, you're talking about him now, so it turns out he was part of the show. He was the star of the show.
He is the star of
You're
the show.
still talking about him
I'm
now.
giving him exactly what he wanted because he goes, I'm going to take you to the bike racks after this gig.
What does that mean?
Well, it means he wants
kiss you.
Yeah, but
Yeah, to fuck you at the bike rack.
It's meant to be he's going to bash me. I was
Yeah.
like, why are you going to try and finger me? And then that just turned the audience more on him.
Oh.
And he's like, no, I'm going to bash you. And I was like, man, I'm not taking it. I'm not threatened by a man who's drinking a vodka cruiser. And he's clearly had a Jack Daniels.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, it's not a vodka cruiser.
that's
And I was
great.
just fucking with him on stage. He's like,
Right.
see? And I was like, nah. Just really wrecked his mind.
But Joe, there's a real disconnect, I think, between what people think comedy is and what it is. You know, I think some people think it is you go to heckle. And like that is part of it sometimes. But I think in some people's heads, that's all it is. That's why there are people there just screaming at you when you start a show.
Yeah, I think, but also the clips you see online now are just people yelling shit,
Totally,
comedians
right, yeah.
doing something
Yeah.
back, and then that's the show. I was like, no, shut the fuck
Yeah.
up.
God.
There are always people who think that they're funnier than the comedian. Like they're going with like their friends, and they're like, I want to show you guys just how much I belong up there, and so they'll just throw
Yeah.
in something, and if they get a laugh, they're like,
It's over. They're doing it
thank
forever.
you very much.
But the
I'll
problem is
yell
sometimes they are funnier than the
Yeah.
comedian.
really.
Well, sometimes I think like sometimes you're at gigs and you see like a heckler say something super funny and you're like, that is better than, but it doesn't happen all the time.
No, it often. I don't think I've ever seen a heckler win. I've seen a comedian do crowd work where it has ruined the night.
Yeah.
Because it was in Brisbane and he was desperate to get better at crowd work. So his entire goal was to go to every gig and just spend his time just doing crowd work.
no.
Hell on earth. And he went and he was just kind of talking to the crowd, and it was really through the gig. The whole crowd was
Nick
really
Carr?
no,
Nick Carr? It
no.
sounds like
The
Nick Carr.
guy
It
doesn't live
sounds
in
like Nick
Brizzy
Carr.
anymore. But the whole room was it was all really lit up, and they were all very polite. The gig was going fine, and then he got up and just drove it into the ground. Because one thing with crowd work is if you can't see the person, there's still a little bit of like anonymity
totally.
to that, and so you're just like, it's everything's fine there. But it was so lit up, and he went straight for this guy, and he said, "Hey mate, what's your story?" And he went, "What? I don't know. I'm just out for comedy," which is fine. And then he goes, "So is this your mum?" And he goes, "That's my wife." And then the
Is
whole
there tension at this point?
and the whole room was like, no, and everyone kind of sunk down because it obviously broke her heart.
Yeah.
Because it really upset her, and then the man was
She's old as
angry
shit.
because she
She's
was
obviously-
just with her husband, and then she was accused of being his mother. It was probably something that she's probably been always scared of people thinking, and then he just was like said so lazily and clumsily by this idiot with a I was going to describe him, and then you go, and then everyone in the room just felt sorry for her, and then was angry at him, and then he tried to like move off and be like, anyway, hey brother, what's your story? And then but everyone hated him
Is this
so
his crowd work
much.
technique? He's just saying, "What's your story?"
Yeah.
Oh, you need
Hopefully
something
he's
more
got a
to
joke.
say.
Story. What's your vibe?
What's your vibe?
That's
Yeah.
so lazy because it's like, what's your story? Tell me all the funny stuff you have about your life.
Is there anything funny or notable about your life that will make this better? Can you just mention that now?
Yeah, please.
I got done.
You got a
I did a
joke?
footy club gig on the weekend, and I was like, "Oh, they're gonna fucking eat me alive here." But they weren't too bad. I just started bullying everyone, and I was just going around being a fuckhead. And then one old guy was like, "Oh yeah, what's your name, champ?" And he's like, "I was like, what was your name?" And he's like, just blanked me.
Oh, he
And I was
just
like-
went silent.
He went silent, and I said, "Fuck, you've won this
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
Good on
yeah,
you."
yeah,
And he
yeah.
goes.
Yeah. That
And
is
then I
a,
came back. I was like, "What was your name again?" He's like,
Nah.
I'm like, "Yeah, motherfucker."
God, that's a great tip. Just go
Yeah.
silent.
Stone cold silent and just stare back at me. I was like, "Oh well, you've won this one."
You can't do much with that, can you?
No.
Unless you start miming back towards him, and
Yeah,
it turns
yeah.
into a silent
He said
gig.
his name's Fiona. Got ya.
But I told you this gig that I had in Brisbane where this guy went silent because I asked him to put his phone away and he
Oh, was
refused
this one that
to.
was staring directly into your pussy?
Yes.
Whoa!
Yeah, I told about this last time.
Is that why you told him to put the phone away?
Take a
You're
photo,
like, "All right,
mate.
mate, I do
One
not trust
photo's
you."
enough.
Yeah, this
Get
is-
out of here.
Where your eyeliner is, you're going to need to get rid of your phone immediately.
Yeah, it was actually one of the worst people I've ever had in an audience member. I did 10 minutes. I've already talked about this, so I'll do it really quickly. 10 minutes of my set, and I kept looking down at him, and he was just staring directly at my fudger. And I
But
was like,
was it? Could it have been the? Because that's a strange thing. Not your fudger to look at. I'm sure it's a great
it's
thing to have a
lovely
look
and
at.
fine.
But why? Like, are you sure it wasn't your eyeline? Like, that'd be a weird thing to be at a gig
No.
just staring, like
Yeah.
eyes
So
locked
I
on
was-
it.
I was
like, it's not going
further
to
up.
change by the time you're looking
I
at
know,
it.
like I thought if he's just staring in that direction, I was accidentally in his line of sight. But as I moved, he moved too, and I was like, so I was
Like
even
a
like,
fucking homing missile.
Jesus.
yeah.
Bang, 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 bang.
Oh
So
wait,
I was
it's still
kind
the
of turning
same
away.
after
Yeah.
7 minutes.
Yeah.
I'll keep looking to see if
so
there's
I
any-
just couldn't handle it, and so I just said, what are you doing? And I called him out on it, and
Yeah.
he didn't like that.
because his wife was sitting next to
Yeah,
him.
And
or his
she-
mum. Was it his mum?
It was his mum. It was Nick
I
Carter
should've
as well.
said
He doesn't
that.
want to
I
look at
should've
his
said
mum's
that.
pussy, so he sees
Yeah.
yours and he's like, hello, this is much better.
But he chose silence. He chose
silence?
Yeah, so basically. He answered like a couple of things, like he said his name, and then but he was so angry at me that he just glared at me.
Well, he's
And
focusing.
then-
It's hard to do two things at once.
And then he got his phone out, and I was like, "Oh, mate, you can't have your phone out," because he's in front row and he lit the lights his whole body up as he like texting his mate. And I said, "Mate, you can't have your
Wait,
phone
so now
out."
he's on his phone,
yeah, in
not
the front
talking
row,
to you
not
either.
talking. And then I said, "You
First
can't
he was
have your
on
phone."
you, then he's off you.
Yeah.
Pick a lane, brother.
This guy, huh?
But then when I was like, "Can you put your phone? Can you just put it away? Like, I don't care where you put it away. Just put it away. It's just really distracting." I was being very nice about it. And he went silent and just glared at me and held his phone upright.
Yeah.
And just as in like, it was like a Mexican standoff.
Really?
It was so
This is
weird.
crazy.
But I
you-
won
yeah,
because
how'd you
he was
win?
so unreasonable. Like people
Did the
in the
crowd hate
audience,
him, surely?
Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone hated him. I had that many people comment on on my stories or like come up to
Was
me in
this a
person
solo
afterwards.
show?
It was my solo show.
Oh, how
he
weird.
bought tickets to see me for an hour.
Well, no wonder he's upset.
Well,
He thought
he's
he probably
paid-
got an
he's paid
hour to
30
look at that
bucks.
vagina.
And he got 10 minutes of the bush.
He wanted more.
I
That's-
was naked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is nuts. That's
Yeah, it was
crazy.
insane.
Do you ever, because you've got a background in teaching, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever have to, because like you don't want to discipline someone in a teacher way during a live gig, but I'm sure that's ingrained in
I've
you
seen Bronny do
somewhere
it.
that it might come out sometimes.
Yeah, it really is helpful.
But is teacher funny? Do you do teacher in a
Yeah,
funny way?
yeah, it
'Cause
can
my
be
fear
funny.
would be like, I do teacher in a real like sookie way, like relief teacher getting bullied by the class.
guys,
Guys,
please.
Yeah, guys,
please.
come on.
Come on, we've all hit. None of us all want to be here. Come on, we just have to get through this stuff, and then we can go.
I'll let you go to
okay?
recess 10 minutes
Yeah, yeah,
earlier.
yeah, yeah.
Just don't be mean to me, please.
Nah, no, mine's quite stern.
Really?
I wasn't a psycho teacher, but or maybe I was. No, I don't think I was. But you just have to be like, you just have to
Firm.
be firm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God,
Sometimes
I remember we made some teachers cry. Like not.
Yeah.
I think we were just being brats, but like.
Sooks.
But you
Like,
don't know
you've
Great
what-
when you
never-
break one, though.
But you
You're
don't
like,
know
"Oh,
what's going on in the
yeah."
life of the teacher. You know,
Yeah.
they're just there trying to.
Yeah, but also like, what does the like? If you're going to cry, you hold that in until they leave. When a kid sees you cry, you've
gone.
lost forever. Like
You're
you
gone.
Oh, you
cannot
can't
come
beat it.
back from that.
I remember once we had this relief teacher, and this we were being very naughty. This is probably like year 8 or 9, like shitty public school. But like but there's mainly a few naughty kids, and then everyone else is just like whatever, we're chatting and fucking around. But then the teacher went to go get like another teacher because we were being naughty, and then a kid got up and started trying to swing on the fan, and this is like a demountable public school.
Was Brett in your class?
Yeah, Brett was there. His teacher's aide was helping him. He couldn't read the
She
don't
helped
swing
him up.
sign.
Boosting me up. Yeah.
Anyway, this kid gets on and starts swinging on and because it's a shitty demountable building, the fan rips out of the roof.
Yes, it
So
does.
he falls off. It just hits the deck, and now there's like a hole in the roof. There's a fan. He's like fucked up and shit. And then he just sits down, and we all are like, whoa, and just go into silent. And the teacher comes back in, and she's like, what happened here? And then we chose silence. Well, the whole class just sat there like nothing had happened.
Snitches
And
get
she's like,
stitches.
exactly. She's like, the fan has been ripped out of the roof and there's now a hole.
Correct.
Who did it? And everyone was like doing their work. Everyone's like, we don't know what you're talking about.
Oh,
and then she
good
burst
guess.
into tears, went and got the principal. And then, the principal sorted it out pretty quick.
But if I were the teacher then, I'd be like, you guys are so
You guys are
fucked.
animals.
You've fucked it so
Relief
badly.
teachers just used to turn the TV on and fuck off. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, we're watching Round the Twist again. Who cares? Great.
But I think so. I'm, and you'd probably know this because, like, I guess being a teacher, probably the same as like any job where you're like have an impact on people's lives. You have a choice to make, right? It's like either do you just do it so you can get through it, or do you do it because there's something in you that wants.
Yeah, I reckon
wants
most.
a better outcome. Probably in the same as like nursing or something.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
'cause-
it's like you would always be like, no, I owe it to myself to try to teach these kids,
Yeah.
as opposed to just popping on a David Attenborough documentary.
I think with teaching, I reckon there's 3 reasons why people get into teaching.
Mm.
Okay, the first one is because they actually want to make a difference in kids' lives, and usually that stems from like maybe they had a
Yeah.
really shitty
Surely
time at school.
a lot of people have a bit of that.
Yeah, I think
Even if
that
they're
is
lying
the
to
one.
themselves.
Yeah. I think that's the one that we want. They're the kind of teachers we want. But there's 2 other ones. One,
they want the cash.
there's absolutely none of
Or
them.
that
The other
big money.
the other one is if they were like cool in school, and then when
No.
school finished. Oh,
Are you
Sam
serious?
Taunton.
And
They
then
want to
they-
go back and be cool
And
again.
they've got this
They
lo-
like they finish year 12 and they're like, oh god, but everyone's like gone on with their lives
No.
and they're like, oh, but aren't I cool? And everyone's like, hey, we've grown up, and so they go back to high school.
You're kidding.
Sam Taunton, there are so many like this.
Because they feel safe at school, do you
No,
think?
because they feel, and they're the ones who become friendly with the student. They're the ones that lots of PE teachers are like this, and then
And then they end up on the cover because they fuck someone they shouldn't.
because they've
A
come too
child.
friendly
Yeah.
with the children. And the third one is that they were fucking losers at school, and they've come back for revenge.
Yeah, I had a lot
Oh.
of teachers like that.
So they, you would have
losers coming
been, you would have
back.
been perfect for them to come down on. And so, and they like they have
Yeah, but
no.
you'd be the only teacher with a teacher's aide.
Yeah.
So the teacher has to
Is that how you spell that? Yeah.
Yeah, so they're like the main 3, but you want the first one, which is people who want to go back into it. But usually all these 3 are kind of worn down with the fuck, I just have to do this, because you see
Yeah.
so many of the older teachers who've given up and they get paid more than you, and
Because
you're like,
imagine
well,
being
I'm
there
not
for
gonna,
40 years. It
yeah,
would break
it's
you.
insane. I don't know how it's the golden handcuffs, because they're like, if you stay for a bit longer, you don't have to get better. In fact, you could get worse if you want,
But you get paid more.
but you're paid more.
Because you got to do
Every
something.
year it goes up, is it?
No, not every year. It's like brackets.
But like you'd have to do something pretty bad to get fired, right? Like you'd have to be pretty shit.
Yeah, there are so many teachers that should not be
Like
teachers.
it's like hitting a child, having inappropriate relations.
Yeah, I'm
They're the
school.
one. Other than that, like I reckon you could be a bad teacher and they would just move you around.
But even
Like I think you'd be fine.
Be fine,
In a-
it'd be like
but
the
even
church,
inappropriate
you know what I mean? They just
relations-
move you to a
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
Yeah,
we'll
but
put
even
him
in
over there now.
appropriate relations, do you know how many things have to line up for that to happen? Because it can be, you can have that, and one person could go, I think that's happening, and a few other people go, yeah, I think that's happening, and then the child has to say, yeah, that's happening, and if the child is like in love with this teacher, they're not going to say anything,
Yeah.
and then the teacher, they're not going to admit it, because why would they? Because they'll be on the sex offenders list. So there's so many. They go, well, we can't prove it.
What are the rules like once you're out of school? Okay, is there like a time period? So say like you and a year 12 kid had a relationship.
God, it's 24 hours. Then you're good. No.
Graduation night.
Graduation.
The next day after
Soon as
graduation.
that little thing with the hat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
hits
it's
the
like,
floor.
all right, you grab the hat, you're in, you're ready to go. Wow. No, but is there like 2 years after, say if you're a 35-year-old teacher.
Yes.
And then like they are 19 or 20 now out of school. Is there anything, is that still inappropriate?
Oh yeah, it's gross, but
Gro-
you're
no, don't
allowed
get
to
me
do
wrong,
it.
it's gross,
You're
but
allowed
I'm
to
saying
do it.
you're allowed to do it.
They're adults now. You're not teaching them. There's
But
no,
imagine being at the
apparently
club,
there's
so
no
how did you
power.
guys meet?
Yeah, I
So-
know. Yeah, he taught me Pythagoras.
We had a hot sports teacher.
Yeah.
and then
We
as soon
had
as
one
we'd
as-
see her in
we
the
had
Which
nightclub,
one was
she'd
she in
like,
those?
"Miss!"
But
Yeah.
where was she in those three? Was she a loser at school? She wanted to help the kids, or was she cool at school and come back to exactly?
Cool and
you
returning.
can honestly, all the teachers in your
Yeah.
life, you can go back and you
put them
can
in that
place it.
category.
Yeah, so
we,
easy.
We had a hot PE teacher, and she was like 22. She was like straight out of Miss Hurst, and she took us. We did surfing for sport, and she was like a surfer, and like it was.
straight into a bikini.
Yeah,
Bunch
and
of
it
near
was
15-year-old boys.
crazy. I remember all of us losing
Yes,
our
I need
minds.
a hand. I
Yeah.
need a
But
hand.
her dad was the principal as well. It got more complex. Her dad was the principal, and then she was teaching us. So I don't know where she must have been cool, but also only known like
Teaching,
education.
yeah.
Like that's the only avenue that she wanted to go.
Did you ever want to be a teacher?
Never.
No.
Never.
got in
I
as a
would be a
teacher.
bad teacher.
You what?
At uni.
Did
I
you?
applied because I got
What would you want to teach?
I didn't want to do it. I did, they just had a form and they're like, what are three, or based on your score, this is what you can apply for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there was like teacher, something else. And I was
Yeah.
like, fuck that. I'm going to TAFE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Teaching, it does seem hard. I just don't think I'd have the patience. Also, I didn't like enjoy school though. Like it wasn't like
No,
a
I
You
didn't
didn't
like
fit
the
into those
structure.
three things.
Yeah, it's not like
I
I
imagine
wanted
you
to-
would have been cool at school.
Yeah, but I was always doing others. Like I was playing golf a lot, which is not
Yeah.
cool. But like I was just away.
Did you
a
want to
lot.
be a professional golfer?
That was my thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to turn pro as soon, or I was going to go to college. I had a college
Yeah.
lined up in the States, and then I had what I could only describe as a slight mental breakdown because I got like burnt out from doing it.
From doing too much golf.
Yeah. Well, it's
How
like
do you
all
get burnt out playing golf? It's relaxing, isn't it?
no, but it's like doing anything. It's like if you just, it was like my whole life
Yep.
from the ages of like 12 to like, I guess 18 or 19.
Yeah.
And then it just all became too much. And then I was like, there's a whole other world.
Oh, so then you
out there.
stopped at 18.
I stopped in the sense of like, I stopped playing competitively for a few
Okay.
years.
Did you win some money playing?
No, so this is why it's fucked. Well, it's not fucked, but there's a distinction between amateur golf and professional golf. So to become a pro, you have to declare yourself a professional, or there is like a traineeship, like an apprenticeship you can do.
It's like a pinky promise.
It's like a pinky promise,
pro-
yeah. But what it
Declare
means is that
professional.
once you're a pro, you can't go back and play with the amateurs. So if you're a pro, you and I can't really play in like just a Tuesday morning members comp.
Oh,
So you have to play with
yeah,
the
okay.
professionals now.
Right. So,
you,
you didn't ever make that leap?
I never did it, no.
Were you almost about to?
Well,
Is
yeah,
this
I
where
got-
the breakdown happened?
Well, I could have done it, definitely. But I also knew that I reckon I was never good enough to be good.
And do you
so
have to?
I could have been like a teaching pro easily, like with ease.
But not on the TV.
I doubt whether. I mean, I qualified for a few pro tournaments and played them, but like not. I don't think I would have made enough money.
So and to say like you declare I'm professional, do you have to meet a certain standard, or you can just say like
No.
could I declare today?
You could declare
Right
today,
now?
but it'd be a terrible decision
What do you
for you because
mean?
you would have nowhere to play. You wouldn't be good. I actually don't know your golfing ability. You might be really good.
Mine's
Not
shit.
very
'Cause every
good.
time I hit the ball, it does this. It goes, oh,
Slices.
that looks straight. And then it
Yeah.
goes,
We could.
It's distracted. It's
I
got
could fix
ADHD.
that.
You gave it
I don't want
ADHD.
it. I hate golf. It
No, come
pisses
and
me
play.
off.
All I'm saying, you should. And look, we're in our 30s. I have a lot of people messaging me, and mainly men. No, that women do like playing golf, but it's mainly men messaging me, almost like in secret, being like, "Hey, can you take me to a driving range?" Because they know that now's the time to put the effort in. Because when you're 50, 60, it's the thing you're going to want to be doing a lot, and you
Oh,
don't
it's
want
an
to be starting
investment.
then. You don't want to be shit then,
No, I can't imagine me at 50 is going to enjoy it.
dude. You would love it.
And I played. I went all in. I bought clubs. My mate, all my mates bought clubs.
Yeah.
And all this shit. And I was like, yeah, I'm a golfing guy now because I like the idea you could just drink beer and walk
Dude,
around
it's
all
great.
day.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
part rules.
Yeah.
And then I would just keep going with them and never hit the ball. I just walk around drinking piss. I hated
Yeah.
it. It pissed me off. I'd get so angry.
That-
Get the fuck out of that hole.
Yeah, it is frustrating. But then once you get, I mean, maybe you need to put a bit, but also maybe it's not for you. I don't want to pressure you into
No,
something
I like
you don't
mountain
want to do.
biking and that stuff,
Yeah,
That's
very
I think
similar.
you're on the other side of it.
I'm on the other side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But you can't mountain bike forever.
Yes, I can.
Your limbs are going to break down.
What's the oldest
Eat-
mountain biker out there?
I don't know. Yeah, there's e-mountain bikes now. Electric ones. Just drive straight
Would they go up the hill?
Teslas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a Tesla. It's just a bike with a motor on it. So you don't have to pedal up a hill anymore. It's fucking
Or like a
great.
motorbike?
No, they're kind of in the middle. They're more expensive. It's more expensive to buy an electric mountain bike than an actual dirt bike.
Really?
Yeah, I went into the shop and I said to the guy, I was like, how much is this specialized mountain bike? He's like, 12 grand. I said, that's more than my dirt bike. And he goes, there's a bit more going on this bike than a dirt bike. And I was like, what, more than a combustion engine? You're a fucking idiot, mate. I didn't say that.
It's because it's all the rage, the electric engines.
Yeah.
People want them now. So it's like non-alcoholic beer. It's like it shouldn't cost that much, but because it's like new and exciting, it's like the same price or more.
$18 for a 4-pack of something that
Heaps
doesn't get you
Dude,
normal.
I bought a Heaps Normal at the pub the other night. $11 a can.
Insane.
How can it cost $11?
Don't know.
What the fuck is actually
It's
going on?
really annoying.
If
Is it
it's $5? You go fine.
Do they have to remove the alcohol from it, or is it like an extra step?
I think
or
they
do
brew it the same, but there's no tax on it. That's
there's
the
no
big
tax.
thing. There's
That's
no
the
fucking
thing.
tax. So it's like, how dare they?
How dare
How
How
dare
dare they?
they? I'm actually so angry about it.
Sam Taunton, we've been desperate to get you on this pod. I reckon I've messaged you more than any other person.
I feel so
reckon,
bad.
Don't feel bad. You're here.
He was too
Can
busy
also-
too busy on Millionaire Hot Seat or whatever it was.
What?
What game show were we on?
We did
Deal or No Deal?
the
Oh,
other
the
day,
Deal or No
Did you
Deal.
have fun?
I had fun.
When was that?
Last week.
Last week, we got to hold briefcases on Deal or No Deal.
That's awesome.
I guess 250,000 because I wanted to ruin Tom Gleason's day and I was way off.
Was he? Oh,
So he's on there and then
Okay.
there's comedians on,
Yeah,
on
yeah.
this little panel thing and we're like, I think you got to do
Yeah,
one
yeah,
funny
yeah, yeah.
story about Tom
Yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah,
you
yeah.
go, I reckon there's $1,000.
oh, because
Yeah.
is this for his birthday? Because it's his 50th
No, they were
birthday?
doing
A charity
I don't think there was. Maybe there was tie into that. I don't know. He was playing for a charity. I think they were shooting like celebrity episodes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was one of the celebrities. And then they got, for some reason, got us in
Yeah.
to be there.
And then they said, we'll give you we'll add in $1,000 for every nice thing you say about every comedian. And he fucking hated it, but he wanted the money. He's like, yeah, Brett opened for me and it was really tough.
Oh, that's
to follow
right. He
him.
had
And
to
I was
give us compliments.
And I was like,
Yeah.
well, that's not true because I actually bombed at that gig
Yeah.
real bad. And then we had to sit in the car together.
It's also like, that's such a nice compliment from him, but like he can follow you. He's
Yeah.
like, do you know what I mean? It's like comedians are watching it being like, yeah, well, I appreciate that he's made it. Even Brett kills. Brett's one of the best, but Gleason can
Gleason's
follow you.
gonna kill.
Gleason's never worried about following anyone.
And it's also a regional town in Adelaide and they're there to see him.
They're there to
Yeah.
say Tom
Yeah.
Gleason's name is on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
poster.
and with Brett Blake, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Why is this cunt speaking?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
The highlight of the game, it was very fun. Got to see Denya work, which was incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Insane.
What a master that guy is. And we got to hold the briefcases. And then you get into it as well. Like people are guessing it right and you're like, woo, and you're doing the no deal sign all the time.
Oh,
One
that
stage,
is fun.
Sam Taunton
I loved
pretended
that
to
show.
faint.
Yeah,
Did
I pretended
you?
to faint. I was
so
like,
good.
yeah, well, you got to play it up. You're only on
Yeah.
Deal or No Deal once in your life.
Well,
You got to get that gig once.
Yeah,
you know?
you're not going back. But the highlight, right? So there was so it was just so it's Gleason playing, and then the front row of the cases comedians. There was probably like 6 of us, maybe
Yep.
6 or 7, and then behind us are just normal people that are like just playing the game. And then so same thing, it comes to them and then they get to like they get to guess their number, and sometimes they've got something to say, and it goes to this girl. And she's probably like in the second row,
behind me.
and then she's like, "I've actually got a story about someone here." And then Denya's like, "Oh, is it about Tom Gleason?" And she goes, "No, it's actually about one of the comedians in the front row."
And as soon as this happened, I go, "It's me. I'm fucked."
did you recognise her?
And we look back, and this girl is like, "I actually matched with Brett Blake on Tinder." And then did she ghost you or did you ghost?
She ghosted me in the comment section. She's like, I ghosted him in the comment sections or whatever. And she goes, before she said the ghosting bit, she goes, yeah, I was trying to meet up with him at a date at a strip club. And I was
That's
like,
right. Yeah. And then everyone's like, "What is going on?"
What do you mean?
But I didn't even. So I was like, and she goes, I sent you a little wave on the app, and I was like, don't remember. So I go have a look at it, and I'm like, I'm looking through the thread. I'm like, none of this says she wants to meet at this bar, and I was like, that's not a strip club or whatever. But then so the bar's called Maxine's.
I
So
know on Sydney Road.
Well,
That's a strip joint, isn't it?
that's
I didn't know. I just
They
thought
used
of
to do a Sunday roast as well for $6.
Hell
on
yeah,
a
I'm going
Sunday.
for that.
Yeah, so you could go.
What
I guess.
kind of roast?
Yeah.
Spit roast. That's disgusting. That's disgusting.
I never went. I used to live near it years
Seem to
and
know a
years
lot
ago.
about
I
this
used
place.
to-
You're like,
I know
I've
it-
seen Sydney Road, Sunday roast. Sounds like you know
$6,
heaps about
$6.
this.
And
That's
then,
one
like,
of your
there's a
11
picture of her on the front, and someone has of her just wearing like undies, holding her boobs, and someone has thrown, and like from the neck up, she just looks like someone's mum.
Yeah.
You know, and someone has thrown a rock right at her fudger, and it's just
At her
smashed.
fudger?
Yeah, it's just smashed from there out.
Do you-
Anyway,
that
I've
was
noticed
also
it.
the strip club that, what's that, Greens? She was Greens and she left the Greens.
Lydia
That
Thorpe?
Lydia Thorpe got like, got denied entry in and then like attacked the security guard there.
Just
like,
let her in.
Maxines.
At
Let her in.
Maxines.
So
Now
I'm
we know
looking
who
at
threw
this-
the rock at her
Yeah,
fudger.
yeah,
I'm looking
Yeah.
at this chain. I'm going like, she keeps mentioning this bar, Maxine's. I'm like, yeah, I'm happy to meet you at Maxine's. It sounds like a fun bar.
Yeah.
But then my roommate's like, dude, it's a fucking strip club.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is a
And I
strip
was
club.
like, what? And I was like, so it looked by the thread, it looks like she works there and was trying to get me to come to this bar.
Oh, so you thought she was, because that happens, right? People get like caught
Yeah.
up and she's trying to drum up business.
Yeah, I think she was
Oh,
trying
it's
to
a
drum up
Maxine.
business.
It's a
Yeah,
Maxine.
well, she's not Max. She might work at Maxine's.
Right.
So, and I don't get anything back. So, cut to Saturday night.
Oh no!
I'm in an Uber, just going, oh yeah, and I'm like, Maxine's. I'm like, stop the Uber.
And you
on
went?
my way home from the Comics Lounge, she's like, oh, you're around the corner. I was like, nah, I'm getting out here. I've got to have resolution.
So so this weekend you went to Maxine's?
Yes, on
Oh my
Saturday.
God.
Because I wanted the story to finish. I wanted to finish the story
Yeah.
so I have
Yeah.
a good yarn.
Dude, also, this is like great festival show stuff as well. Because you've got the footage of her calling you out on Deal or No Deal.
Yeah, and
That's
Denya's
good.
involved.
This is
Denya's
good.
involved. Yeah,
Everyone's
yeah.
there. There's millions of dollars at stake. So I'm like, this is going to be a great ending to the story.
Yeah.
I walk in, and I'm a little bit drunk, and I walk in there, and then I'm like, yeah, maybe. And I'm like, what is your plan here?
Yeah,
I
so now
thought
you're in a strip club.
Now I'm just in a strip club, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then
Did you think she would maybe be in there?
I thought she might be behind the bar or doing something, and I'd say, hey, and she'd be like, oh, that's funny. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
oh, the end. But then, so I got a drink, sat down, and then like a lady came up, she's like, and I was like, no, I'm
now
not
you're
here
just
for
a
that.
guy
So
alone in a
basically,
strip club.
yeah, I was a guy alone in a strip club who was then explaining the Deal or No Deal story to
No.
people and showing them the message chains, and I've never had more women go, and just, but no one wanted to hang out with me. Like, this guy's a fucking
Jeez.
Fruit Loop.
Warning all their mates, don't go near that
Yeah,
one.
they're like, nah, he's got no
Red
cash.
flag, red
He's
flag.
fucking insane.
Because I think like strippers are often like, they hear all the lines. Do you know what I mean? Of like
Yeah.
the guys being in, they're like, no, I'm just here. I don't want to like lap dance or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they have heard it all and then they break them down and then get them to spend. Like, because the guys don't want to admit that they're actually there to be like,
For the
you know,
purpose of
for
seeing-
pervy whatever moments, which is
Oh, I
fine.
don't
Do
know
whatever
why
you
I'm
want to do.
here. Yeah, yeah.
But that's got to be a new one.
Yeah.
You coming in being like, I was on Deal or No,
No
Deal.
Deal, yeah.
And this woman's like, we could go for a drink. I didn't realize it was here. So now that's why I'm here.
And
It's
I
like,
didn't know what vaccines was, but now, and I was driving
Now
past,
you
and I got
know.
out of the Uber, and then
they
I
would have just been like, just fucking give us $500 for a lap dance here. You don't have to do all of this.
I think they were giving me money to shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
So were you up in the moment on the telly when she was like, I was going to meet him at a strip club? Was that embarrassing? I'd been mortified.
I thought it was.
I'd throw
I thought it was the
myself-
highlight of the taping. Personally,
Yes.
I was loving it.
In my head, I was like, I don't remember a strip club being involved, but this makes me sound awesome.
Yeah.
Does
I
it?
was like,
Okay.
I was like,
Does it?
yeah, cool. But how do I look bad here? I haven't done anything wrong. And then there's like somebody's like, I was trying, and she was trying to get me to go to the strip club.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, Brett's going on dates with chicks who want to take him to
Yeah,
strip clubs.
yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
great.
yeah.
This is great PR for me.
No, it looked good
Okay.
for you. Also, you had done some funny stuff earlier about, some bits, I guess, about your life, like you just living quite a chaotic life or whatever. So it just really added to this whole Brett Blake. Like I know, I think you came out really well in that episode.
And then she also brought
Oh,
up I
that's
was
good.
homeless. And she goes, yeah, but he was also homeless for a bit. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I was living down the beach. And I'm like, fucking hell. Everyone's having a go. And I'm like, Jesus
I
Christ.
don't know how well you came off in this episode.
no, he was funny. He
Oh,
was
yeah,
funny. He
it's
was definitely funny.
Yeah, but lots of things are funny.
Yeah.
And you don't want to have sex with them.
Did you talk to her after?
No, because we got shuffled into a different space. And I think she was actually like,
I think she was keen.
I think she was quite drunk as well.
Oh, for the taping.
Yeah, I think she was a bit like,
Oh, I
because
guess
she
you.
messaged me after saying, did I make sense? And I was like, well, you got everything out. That was pretty funny. And then she's like, yeah, we should grab a drink sometime.
So I
Where?
knew she was still keen, of course.
Yeah. But then I was like, ghost Brett Blake. We can fucking both play that game.
Oh, so
Yeah.
you've ghosted her back.
No, I was
Such a petty little
So
man.
if you-
No, I went to Maxine's looking
Did
for
you
her.
take a photo of in Maxine's and send it to her at least?
No, you can't take photos in strip clubs. You'll get banned.
Come
Well,
on,
maybe from
Sam
out the
Taunton.
front. I like
yeah,
it.
it's
So
next
you've
to
just
the smashed fudger.
I did. It's
I
so-
should have actually just at the front gone.
Yeah.
I don't know what I thought was going to happen.
That's
at
what
the
I
end.
mean. You just went to a strip. You're living like the sad comedian lifestyle. You did a gig at the Comics Lounge, then you got an Uber to Maxine's and just sat there and had a drink.
Well, if you frame it like that, yeah, it is sad. I actually got 2 drinks.
He was doing a lot of chat. He was showing a lot of people about Deal or No Deal. We're having fun. Let's get another drink.
Yeah, I remember like in the morning I was like, where's the fucking strip club? I remember like one of the girls going,
Yeah.
when I was talking to her, I was like,
because those girls are like geniuses at keeping the ball in the air conversationally. Like so much of their job is just chatting to these weird guys that are blind that come in, that are talking their way around, probably wanting to get a lap dance. So they just have to do. Some of them probably get dances and then don't even want they just want to talk to the lady. But surely that's more draining hearing that about Deal or No Deal.
even when I was saying the whole Deal or No Deal thing, and I was like, and she brought up I was homeless, and I'm not even homeless now.
My God.
I'm just burning holes in their ears, and they're hating it. I reckon I've got a life ban for just
From
bad
vaccines.
conversations.
Vaccines. Yeah.
Too
They're
bad
like,
you
girls,
missed
he's
out on that
homeless.
roast.
Get away. We knew it. He's homeless.
He's
Get away
homeless,
from
he's
him.
got
Get
no
away from him.
cash. The worst part is I had $1,000 cash on me as well, so yeah, your chance.
You had $1,000 cash.
Yeah, because you get paid cash at
the lounge, yeah.
So how much did Tom Gleeson win for his charity? I have to know.
Ooh,
30,
I actually don't know if we're allowed to say.
What was in your case?
I can't say. I work for the
you don't
network.
know?
I don't know. I was telling everyone at work the next day, and then I got told to stop telling people.
Well, I
many
said a number, but I
secrets.
didn't say how much was in his case because they kept giving him heaps of money.
Yeah, he did well.
Okay, great.
He did well.
I have to ask this because
Yeah.
usually we ask this much earlier in the pod.
Oh, yeah.
What's the worst job you've ever
yeah, we
had?
haven't even spoken
We haven't even
about that.
This
It's
has been
all
the
been
intro.
about me,
I know,
and
but I'm conscious of time because I know you're very busy. You've got to go to work.
I've got to go to
after
work.
This.
Yeah. Worst job. I've had so many strange jobs. I worked at so many golf courses for years.
Okay. Was that your first job?
First job was in a golf course, cleaning the members' golf clubs, which was the dream. I liked it. I just got to sit at the back cleaning clubs, got paid cash.
Okay.
It was great. I did some labouring when I was 18. I remember I got called a dumb cunt on the labouring side,
Yeah,
which
that's
is a
right.
real
Was that working
introduction
with
into
Brady?
manual labour. I'm sure you've been like. I always think when I see what's got like there's often on the project we do big stories about like why aren't there more women working in like
Construction.
Yeah, construction, and I'm like, well, they could, but like it is pretty fucked. Like they would get. I don't know how they would handle kind of the day-to-day chat.
There's a
like not that men are awful, but like there's something going on
there's
those construction sites.
There's a big construction site near my house where they're building this huge apartment block, and there's a woman who's very, very fancy who is like, I think she's a lollipop lady.
Oh, yeah,
but she's there all of the time, and the kids know her because they're like, she doesn't look like she should work there because she's like got lots of work done.
Oh, hell yeah.
And her hair is incredible.
They started hiring really good-looking
Like she's so,
'cause-
but very, very, very tight jeans, like spray-on jeans, and I'm pretty sure her work boots are higher than usual. Like she's put platforms at the bottom.
Hell yeah.
She's very glossy lips, fake eyelashes.
Is it Maxine? It sounds like
might
Maxine.
be
I think it's
Maxine. It might be
This chick
Maxine.
that was on Millionaire
It
Hot
might
Seat or
be.
whatever.
So she looks so fancy.
Yeah.
And then she's always got like 3 or 4 Darrow little construction workers just kind of hovering
following her
around.
around.
And I'm like, oh, she must have the most disgusting men to deal with all day.
Yeah. Do you think it
every
would
day.
be? So I still, from the world of golf, if I see like a hot girl playing golf, it's like she's like she's a 10. Do you know what? She's like the most beautiful thing I
Yeah,
could ever
yeah.
imagine because
Yes.
it's like she's in this world of mine. Especially I was growing up it's just like,
So
to
if
me,
you-
like a hot golfing girl is like my ultimate fantasy.
Okay.
There probably are like a hot construction girl. These guys would probably lose their minds over it. So like we could talk about drill bits as we drift off to sleep.
Oh my gosh, so sad.
I don't know. Yeah, every time I work construction, I was like, you don't want women near any of these fucking animals.
Well, that's kind of where I think I'm going with what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I do get it. It's like maybe keep the ladies away.
But also,
I wouldn't wanna work there.
because in the film
No.
industry,
Ugh.
we've obviously been more active to try and get more women into more
Absolutely.
dude roles, like
Yeah.
gripping and like electrics and stuff. And it's fucking better because the change on the comms, because we're all commed in together, and
Yeah.
the verbal abuse you used to get. And the shit that was said on those comms.
Yeah.
Like, dudes would just be farting into microphones.
Well, I mean, let's not get rid of that. That's
Yeah,
pretty funny
it's
stuff.
pretty funny. One of them made me, it was such a bad, wet-sounding fart, I threw up while walking around.
That's
I was
so
like,
fun.
Ugh, I couldn't get my head
$1
beamed
million
out.
productions and just hearing,
man, you'll
popping
be-
the comms on and just hearing.
Man, it'd be like Willem Dafoe's there, and then there'll be a grip, and then you could just see him, and then you just see another guy over there go, watch this, and then he's got his comm and just doing a fart, and then you're trying not to laugh on set.
Oh, God.
One of the big head guys at the ABC who I bumped into the other night when I was doing the show, and he pretty much runs the whole fucking thing, was a notorious fart in the microphone bloke.
Really?
And now he pretty much runs the whole ABC.
Oh, shit.
And he'd be
There you
notorious.
go. Everyone's got a past.
Do
Everyone's
you know-
got a past.
So I don't know what the worst job I've ever had is. It's just been like a lot of golf course, and then like through the nature of comedy, you end up just doing like. So I probably haven't had a job, non-comedy sort of job for like a decade.
Yeah, amazing. So how old were you when you started comedy?
24,
Yeah, okay.
34 now. So
You were at golf courses and construction for 4
no,
years?
so I went and worked at I worked at the Herald Sun for like a year.
As a journalist?
No, no.
You were selling something because I remember
No,
going.
I worked. You'd like this. I was building ads for the car section of the Herald Sun.
Because I remember there was a point in your timeline of comedy because you were like, and maybe it was at the Imperial and we're having a beer and you're like, yeah, I don't know whether to put more focus into comedy, but also the lady I'm working for, she's going to give me like $150,000 a year. And I was like, dude, I would take the 150.
Because there was, so I'd
the
started
Herald Sun.
comedy and I was working there, and then I was just like on a shit entry level job or whatever, like just managing like the ad campaigns on the website or whatever. But then they would take me to lunches and like I would just always like have good conversations with people, and she was like, you should come work with us in the sales team and you can come and work
makes
and it'll
sense.
just be like long lunches. And I was like, there was a point there I was like, well, maybe this is my future. I just become like a dude on Fridays who's just doesn't go into the office, is just doing lunches, has got the corporate card. Like I thought that's where I could head. But anyway, then I started doing comedy. Then I quit and then went back to a golf course to work for like or maybe I only worked there for a year while I was still doing comedy. But I remember I was like in my second year of comedy, I was very lucky, and I was doing roadshow in Asia. So I was in like Hong Kong or something doing like comedy festival roadshow, and did this like gig. We were doing like a week at the Soho Club in Hong Kong, and it's like so good, feeling like a proper comedian. And then I was back the next week. I was like back in Melbourne working at this golf course, just doing like selling Gatorades or whatever in the pro shop. And this guy came in and he was like, dude, I saw you on stage at the...
In Hong Kong.
And then he's like, what are you doing here? And I was like, oh, I work here as well. And he's like, aren't you an international professional comedian? And I was like, oh,
Yes.
just the Snickers bar, was it, mate? Okay, no way. And so then that was a moment where I was like, I think I just have to try and do comedy now. Because I'm like...
Great.
So
So
then
you
I
gave
quit.
up.
Then I quit and then just... also, just before I quit, there was a lady that worked there, and I dropped a window on her iPhone.
Oh my God.
And-
Thank God it was just I thought you were going to say a foot.
No, but it smashed her phone, and then
Yeah.
I think that their appetite for me kind of
Was it the
disappeared. No, it was like the boss's friend lady, and so then I think they were like, "There's I've never been fired, but I have been left off rosters quite a lot."
That's fine.
Yeah.
Is that being
yeah,
fired?
that is fired.
Yeah.
That's,
Fine.
but that's
It's
a
a
coward
coward,
boss thing. And then
yeah.
they're like, oh, well, now you're getting 4 hours a week
Yeah.
at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday.
Dude,
like,
totally.
I reckon the vibe's changed here.
I remember when I was 18, I was working at Just Jeans, you know, the jeans,
Yeah.
jeans store. And
Yeah.
I didn't love it because it was, people would come in and they'd be like, oh, I'm after some jeans, thanks. I'm like, yeah, I know you're like, you've
That's
come.
all we've got,
That's all
just
we sell.
jeans.
Look at the
We've just-
wall, it's just fucking jeans, all right. But there was a day I went to check my roster and there was no shifts. And I remember ringing the lady, Kerry was her name. And I was like, hey, I just wanted to check my shifts. And she's like, oh, I'm not sure what happened, but you don't seem to be on the roster. And I was like, but you write the roster. What do you mean?
Kerry, what are you
What do you mean
doing?
you don't know what happened? And she's like, yeah, this is so strange. She's like, well, let me know next week and I'll give you your shifts. And rang up again and she's like, yeah, I'm not. This is
That
crazy.
insane.
You are not on the roster again this week.
yeah, you're like, but it's you who's writing
It's right in
it.
the roster.
Read between the lines.
And so that happened. That's happened at golf courses as well, where it's just slowly diminishing.
Why do you think you get fired from jobs?
I think no, but the jeans store, fair enough. I don't think I was cut out to work.
Why? What do you... You're a salesman. Herald Sun wanted you.
No, I can sit down for a long lunch. Selling a pair of
there's
jeans.
no long lunches at Just Jeans.
Yeah, jeans is like it's quite tricky. And I was 18, I had no interest. The golf course one, I was just not turning up a lot. I would always pull out. I would have gigs and stuff. Like that's a nice natural one where it's like, you know, when you're working a job, and especially when you're trying to do something else, whether it be comedy or a musician or you've got a like small startup business or whatever, I always do it till you can't do the other thing anymore.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened like with my
Great.
other jobs. And then
So you were making enough money from comedy to give up the golf course.
Yeah.
That's great.
I know.
Oh, you're an
totally.
international star.
I'm an international star.
That's right.
Absolutely an international
Exactly.
star. But I still have a big fear that I'll like, because I don't know what I'll do when comedy ends. Do
Why
you
would
think?
it
Do you ever think about this?
Yeah.
I'm like, what would happen? Also, yesterday I watched. Have you seen that show on Netflix, One Day?
No.
It's based on like the book and the movie.
Isn't it? Is it a romantic one?
Yeah.
no.
Anyway, it's quite famous.
Everyone talks about it.
But the guy in it, he's like a television presenter, and then it just all disappears one day. And I was watching it, I was
my
like,
God.
"Fucking hell,
This
this
is
is a bit
too close
real.
to
This is like,
home."
this is all a bit real." And then he starts working in a cafe, which is maybe where I'm going to have to end up.
No, back to the golf course.
You reckon back to the golf course?
Just make that declaration.
Yeah.
I am
It's
professional
not a bad
now.
I also have a
job.
university degree, but it's worth nothing.
What is it?
Yeah, like just a media and politics degree. But what's that
Oh.
worth? Like I can't get anything.
Yeah.
It's too late in the game now. I'm 34. Like
No,
I'd
it's
have to
not.
start something myself.
I started comedy at 34.
Yeah, but comedy you can start comedy at 34.
You can start politics at 34.
What does start politics mean?
Be like, I'm a politician now.
You can't just go, I'm a politician.
Yes,
you're
you
a
can.
politician.
Sam
I don't
said
wanna
at the
be-
start,
but
you
having
make a
a politician-
declaration.
But having a politics degree doesn't mean you can be a
Yes,
politician.
it does. What is it good for then? Maybe you can
It's
be a
not
journalist.
good. That's the point. That's what I'm learning right now.
Oh, okay.
Is
Maybe
that
you go
it's
back
not
to
good.
Herald Sun and be like, excuse me, is
I'm
that
going back to
office?
I don't wanna
construction.
work
I had a great time.
Yeah, maybe
Did
I'll go
you?
to
All the
construction.
harassment, bullying.
I think
So really tight jeans. That
I've-
lady gets. That's
yeah.
a great time.
Man, they're on so much money. They're on like 48.
Yeah.
they're killing it. They're absolutely
Yeah.
killing it. And I think there would be something about working with your hands. If you worked every day, this is like the worst thing to listen to. Just three people that work in the arts, but being like working with your hands.
Yeah.
Man,
Maybe you would feel a sense of accomplishment
I was
and contentness. That's what I'm after in life, I think. And maybe that's what I need. I need a job where I work.
during
work
the
with my
lockdown, I
hands.
was
Make
doing
something.
like carpentry.
Yeah.
It was the fucking best. Just cutting wood all
Yeah.
day, fixing framing. I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
And it was rewarding because you were like, all right, we fixed that room. Bye.
Well, who do you know?
Yeah.
Off the top of your head, who can you think of that gave up comedy, stopped comedy, and then went into something else?
Well, see, I erase them from my life
do
the
they
minute they
exist?
don't
do they
exist.
die?
When they
Comedian.
quit comedy, I have no clue. I don't even remember them.
yeah,
She-
well, I can't-
Corinne
who?
Grant.
Did
Oh,
she
she
quit?
became
No,
a
but she's
lawyer.
like a lawyer now.
Yeah, but she left, became a lawyer. That's insane.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
she was like one of like 3 women in Australia that was
One of the
successful
biggest
at comedy.
names. She
yeah.
hosted the galas and all this shit.
she was on the
everything.
Glass
Celebrity
House. She was funny.
She's so good.
I do
Yeah.
admire the quit though. The people that quit.
Yeah.
They just get out, Because
you
do
usually
you
don't
see
hear
yourself
about
doing it until you're like 60 or
I don't have a
70?
choice.
I
keep going.
don't know.
It's a hard one to think about,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I started much later than you guys started.
Yeah.
I started much later, and so it's still quite fun to me. So it's still
No,
like,
and it's so fun it's my favorite thing in
Yeah.
the world, but I just don't know what it looks like in 30 years' time.
30 years. How old will I be? I'll be no, I'm retiring when I'm 60
From stand up.
from everything.
From everything.
Everything.
Yeah,
you
that's
got superannuation or what?
Nah.
Yeah, well, what are you
yeah,
going to
see,
fucking
that's
do?
the problem. We're all
Lucas has
fucked.
it.
Ah.
You marry up, guys.
Ah.
Come on. What are
You,
you doing?
you need to like invest heavily because I love the idea of because I was talking to Waleed at work the other day and him and Susan they had kids when they were like 22 or whatever, 23. So now they're like early mid 40s and the kids are done. Do you know what I mean?
So
And
clever.
he's just this like rich guy now that has got he's
Yeah.
got the best life. Like he'll be able to go traveling and just
Mm.
like he's just done it so well. Whereas I'm 34. If I ever want kids, I'm like walking into. Do you know what I mean? I should have had kids at 14 or 12 or
this is
8.
this is
Imagine if
where
I had a
we've all
kid.
gone wrong.
If I had a kid at 8. It's like also we would have gone through like similar moments in life together. But also I had a kid at 8, I'd be done in my mid 20s, and then I've got my whole life.
Or just
ahead
don't
of me.
have kids.
Well,
Yes.
that's the other option.
But
yeah,
you want to. I think you want them.
I think I would like a kid. Yeah.
Yeah, they're so good. I had them early, and then I had I had 2 early, and then 1 late, much later. So Ari, he came along when I think I was 30. I think I was 35 or 34 or 35. I think I was
Yeah.
34 when he was born, and so the girls I was in my mid 20s, and then like that was a huge, just physically, you're like so much more tired in your mid-30s than you are.
Oh, so you noticed the difference?
Oh my God, yeah. Like Oliver had her when I was 27, and then Aria had 34, and just that I was like, oh my God, do I have to do this every day?
Yeah.
Am I responsible for this tiny baby?
That's
all
the
of the
thing
time?
that I think I would freak
Huge
out about,
difference.
because I love alone time, and I just
Yeah, you
think
never
it would
get
be
it.
you'd never get it.
But I think if I started comedy in my mid-20s or even earlier, like when you did perhaps, I don't think I would have had kids, because it's still impossible. Because you always, in comedy, you're always chasing, like you go, oh, when I get that, I'll be fine. Then you get it and you're like, okay, now I want
you
that.
have to get to a certain point where you're
never
at
happy.
comfort, right?
Yeah, and you're like, once I get on the telly, I'll have heaps of money. And then but then you get on the telly and you're like, well, maybe, you know, not always. And then you're like, oh, this is not actually enough money.
No, but
it's
never enough.
You always think you're going to get $1 million when you're on TV, and you're like, it's what?
Yeah.
Minimum wage? Fuck.
I
Yeah.
have to get my own Uber? What?
Yeah.
I don't know. Speaking of my job now, though, I'm loving it because I haven't worked in an office for like a decade. And even then, brief little time. And so I love the last 18 months I've been in the project at Channel 10. And I mean, you're there. Are you still there? What's happening?
I'll be there maybe next week one day
Okay,
if they're lucky.
If they've rostered you
God,
on. Yeah.
they have.
please, Bron, come back to us, okay?
I need me.
But like, I love the office. I love chatting to people in the office. It's such a sense of community. Maybe that, like how you talk about the people that were cool at school and then they want to go back. I feel like I'm doing my best work in the office. Like I go around, I'm chatting to people at the
how
work.
are you?
Like before I started at the project, I'd see people online. They would, when people dress the same at work and they post it online, and I'd be like, what the fuck? This is the lamest shit of all time. How small is your life? I get it now in the If I'm wearing brown, they're wearing brown. I'm like, fuck, this is top 10 days of the year. This is crazy.
We've both got wacky socks on.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But
I love it.
like you bring such a beautiful energy into that room, because it is like can be a real sad sack little room. And so when you walk in, everyone's like, oh, he's here.
I love
the
it.
guy.
Yeah. It's the guy.
Oh
But I also love getting out there on the floor with everyone, all these segment producers. I'm out there chatting to them. What's going on? Oh, you're at a wedding on the weekend. Oh, that's a bit of fun.
You're a man of the people.
I love it though. But it's just unlimited chat time. It's like you're all trapped there, so you got to talk.
Okay, yeah.
And we could chat to you all day, but we do know you actually have to go to work. So we will wrap this up.
Sorry we didn't talk that much about work.
Hey, that's okay. I
we
think
got the
this
Maxine story. Yeah, that's all anyone
That's
cares
all
about.
Brett needed you here for.
Maxine's. I'm going to drive
Taunton.
past as well and have a look.
Do you have
I'll be
anything?
there.
Do you have anything to plug? Do you have anything to plug?
Could you listen to my podcast with Tom Cashman?
Oh, what? What is it?
What do you don't know about our,
No.
our great...
It's good something.
No,
like.
it's called Good Stuff, but we've recently had a harsh rebrand. And now it's called Really Good Stuff.
Whoa,
Yeah,
okay.
we've got new
Committed.
artwork.
You've lent in. It's a big declaration.
And we had to get a new song because we had we made this song with royalty-free music.
Okay.
And then put quotes over, we had some Shane Warne stuff and some things in the song, and it was really fun. But then someone who listens to the podcast sent us this video of these 10-year-old kids from the deep south in America rapping over our royalty-free music because it's just out there, you can get it.
Yeah.
And it's a hardcore anti-trans
shit.
song.
Shit.
And these kids are like,
And
boys,
you guys are really good stuff.
it's like gender is fixed, you can't change
Oh,
it.
shit.
And then on the hook, it's like boys will be boys, and I'm like, that's our fucking podcast song. So we had to have a harsh rebrand to get away from that.
I'm so sorry I didn't even know you had this. This
Look,
is
I
great.
mean, not many people know. We also really
Is it weekly?
I think at the moment we're doing it weekly, but we
Great.
have huge breaks from
Yeah.
it all, and there's no theme. And we don't even say hello. It's quite
We don't even say
it's quite
hello.
abrupt to listen to. It's like it
Okay.
just starts.
You're not really selling it.
Yeah. Is it just you
starts-
guys chatting?
Yeah, but there is depth to it. Sometimes we do things we'll do big themed things. We did over the course of a month, we ranked animals, and there was a lot of controversy. So there is stuff happening.
Is the next one women that you know?
That's the
Women in comedy.
Patreon
Yeah.
episode.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
So we only release that to people. You got to pay.
No, it's a Patreon.
The Patreon. Yeah,
It's actually
better
true.
wording. But yeah, please listen to that because
Yeah.
I actually think it's really funny and fun.
Really good stuff.
Really good stuff. Really
Really
good
good
stuff.
stuff.
Listen. And then I've got some gigs in Newcastle next month.
Oh, great.
Just go Google.
Just check him out on social
Just-
media.
Sam
Exactly.
Taunton.
Exactly.
You catch him on the project.
Watch the project, actually.
Yeah, keep
and
him
watch
in
the
job.
Deal or No Deal episode that
Yeah,
we're on.
yeah.
Because I want to
Oh.
see if they delete that from the edit, I'll be gutted.
They're gonna delete it. They would
No
have
way
to.
that it's like it was the highlight of the whole thing.
Yeah, but it's too funny. They'll be like, oh, this is fun, so let's not put that in there.
Yeah, it also wasn't about Gleason, so it might get bumped.
Yeah. I mean, I hope I get the footage from it or something.
Oh, you should email now and ask for the footage
I think I might.
because that's a pretty fun thing to have, just to have.
Just to
Just
have.
to share Maxine, maybe.
Yeah.
Maxine.
I can show the girls. See? I wasn't lying. This is the footage.
I
be like,
would
"He's
go.
back."
Should we go to Maxine's? Because I've never been. I would love to. I'll go for a drink.
Let's
or
go.
maybe the roast. I would maybe go for the
I'm going
roast.
for the Sunday roast if it's $6.
Imagine a Sunday roast in a strip
So
club.
grim.
Disgusting.
All right, guys. Until next time. Thank you very much for joining us. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
I've been fired from a lot of places.
You have.
I've been fired from so many places.
I went into the class one day, real bullets, like real bullets.
Kill me.